Good evening. Tonight, we bring you a story that is sending shockwaves across the country, a development that has the potential to reshape the way Americans think about their rights, their safety, and the very fabric of their communities. Earlier today, the federal government announced sweeping new regulations on pistol sales and ownership. These changes are not just minor adjustments, they represent a fundamental shift in how firearms are bought, sold, and regulated in the United States. For millions of Americans, this news hits close to home, affecting not only gun owners but also families, businesses, and law enforcement agencies nationwide. For the first time in history, a single national standard for acquiring pistols will override the complex patchwork of state laws that has existed for decades. No longer will the rules change from state to state. Now, every American will be subject to the same requirements, whether they live in a big city or a rural town. This move is being hailed by some as a long-awaited step toward consistency and safety, while others see it as a one-size-fits-all approach that ignores local needs and traditions. The legislation at the heart of this controversy is the Pistol Accountability and Safety Act, or PASA. This act introduces strict new requirements for both buyers and sellers, including comprehensive background checks, mandatory safety training, and detailed record-keeping. The announcement has ignited fierce debate on Capitol Hill and beyond, with passionate arguments on both sides of the aisle. Supporters of PASA argue that these measures are a long-overdue response to rising gun violence and mass shootings, calling the act a crucial step for public safety and responsible gun ownership. They believe that national standards will help close dangerous loopholes and save lives. On the other hand, opponents see the law as a clear example of federal overreach, warning that it threatens the constitutional rights guaranteed by the Second Amendment and undermines the freedoms that many Americans hold dear. The stakes could not be higher, and the nation finds itself deeply divided. Across the country, families, communities, and lawmakers are grappling with tough questions about liberty, security, and what it means to be American in this new era. In tonight's special report, we'll break down exactly what these new rules mean for you and your community. We'll explore the history that led to this moment, tracing the evolution of gun laws in America and the events that have shaped the current debate. We'll also examine the potential impact of PASA on politics, the economy, and daily life. From gun shops and shooting ranges to schools and city streets. You'll hear directly from lawmakers who crafted the legislation, gun owners who feel their way of life is under threat, and concerned citizens who worry about the safety of their neighborhoods. Their voices, their stories, and their hopes and fears will help us understand the true impact of this pivotal moment in American history. How will these new laws be enforced on the ground? What challenges will law enforcement face, and how will the courts respond to inevitable legal challenges? Most importantly, what will these changes mean for crime rates, public safety, and the enduring question of American identity? Stay with us as we unpack the most significant change in American firearm regulation in decades. The story is complex, emotional, and far from over. The conversation begins now. To grasp today's news, we need to look back. America's gun laws have always been a patchwork, shaped by the Second Amendment and a long history of state-by-state differences. Your rights as a gun owner could change dramatically just by crossing a state line. Federal laws like the National Firearms Act and the Brady Act set some standards, but never a true national rule for handguns, until now. The PASA marks a fundamental shift, creating a single baseline for all 50 states. This move challenges deep beliefs about states' rights and the meaning of the Second Amendment. That's why reactions across the country are so passionate tonight. What's in the new law? Across the country, headlines are buzzing and conversations are heating up as the Public Arms Safety Act, or PASA, is set to reshape how Americans buy and sell pistols. This sweeping legislation is being called one of the most significant changes to gun laws in decades, and it's raising questions for gun owners, businesses, and lawmakers alike. PASA, which officially takes effect on July 1st, introduces three major changes that will impact anyone looking to purchase a pistol. These changes are designed to address long-standing concerns about gun safety, access, and accountability, and they mark a new chapter in the ongoing national debate over firearms. First, there's a mandatory 10-day waiting period for all pistol purchases. No matter if you buy from a local gun shop, a gun show, or even online, every buyer must now wait 10 days before taking possession of their new pistol. This waiting period is intended to provide a cooling-off window and allow for thorough background checks, aiming to reduce impulsive acts and ensure that all legal requirements are met before a firearm changes hands. Second, PASA introduces a new national license to purchase a pistol. To qualify, you must be at least 21 years old and successfully complete a federally approved safety course. This course covers safe handling, storage, and legal responsibilities, and is designed to ensure that every pistol buyer has a baseline understanding of firearm safety. The license is not for carrying a pistol, but strictly for purchasing one, and it's valid for 5 years before renewal is required. The 5-year license streamlines the buying process for responsible gun owners, but also adds a new layer of oversight. It's a significant shift from the previous patchwork of state laws, creating a uniform standard across the country for who can buy a pistol and how. Third, PASA mandates universal background checks for every pistol transfer, including private sales between individuals. All transfers must now go through a licensed dealer, who will conduct the background check and keep records of the transaction. This closes long-debated loopholes that previously allowed some sales to go unrecorded and unregulated, and it creates a paper trail for every pistol, making it easier for law enforcement to trace firearms if needed. By requiring documentation for every transfer, the law aims to prevent firearms from falling into the wrong hands and to support investigations when crimes occur. It's a move that supporters say will make communities safer, while critics argue it adds unnecessary bureaucracy. Importantly, PASA does not ban pistols or restrict ownership for law-abiding citizens. Instead, it fundamentally changes the process of acquiring a pistol, emphasizing safety, accountability, and transparency at every step. Supporters of the law call it a step toward unity and public safety, arguing that these measures will help prevent tragedies and bring the nation closer together on the issue of gun rights. Opponents, however, are already preparing legal challenges, claiming the law infringes on constitutional rights and places undue burdens on responsible gun owners. With just 6 months before PASA takes effect, states, businesses, and citizens are racing to understand the new requirements and adapt to a new era in gun ownership. Whether you're a first-time buyer, a seasoned collector, or simply concerned about your rights, now is the time to get informed and prepare for the changes ahead. The political fallout was immediate. Democrats and gun control advocates hail PASA as a victory. Republicans call it a federal overreach and vow to fight it in court. Pro-gun groups are mobilizing, calling the act a threat to the Second Amendment. Conservative states are considering legal action or non-compliance, while states with strict gun laws praise the move. The law has redrawn political lines, setting up a fierce battle in the courts and at the ballot box. The gun debate in America has entered a new, defining chapter. The economic impact of PASA is already being felt. Gun company stocks are volatile, and a surge in pistol sales is expected before the law takes effect. Small gun shops worry about new administrative burdens and shrinking customer bases. The law requires a federal system for licensing and more background checks, creating new government jobs but also new costs. Related industries, ammunition, accessories, shooting ranges, are watching closely. Economists are split. Some say the impact will be minor, others warn of legal uncertainty and market shifts. The financial world is bracing for change as the law's effects ripple outward. The true economic story will take years to unfold. PASA will change daily life for millions. Current pistol owners keep their guns, but all transfers, even gifts, must go through a licensed dealer. First-time buyers face a new process, safety course, license, and waiting period. Supporters say this will create more responsible owners. Critics call it a barrier to self-defense. The federal license adds a new layer of oversight, raising privacy concerns. The law forces a national rethinking of gun ownership, making it more like getting a driver's license. This shift will be felt in homes, gun ranges, and communities across the country. Americans are adjusting to a new set of rules for a deeply personal right. The world is watching America's new gun law. International media are covering PASA as a major shift, with many allies seeing it as a move toward global norms. Some foreign leaders praise the law, others worry it erodes a key check on government power. America's image abroad may shift, with potential diplomatic benefits or new criticisms. International gun manufacturers are analyzing how the law will affect their U.S. sales. The American civilian gun market is the world's largest, so any change has global economic consequences. The ripples of PASA are being felt far beyond U.S. borders. The world is watching how America handles this turning point. Across the country, experts remain sharply divided on the true impact of PASA, the new federal gun law. In academic circles, heated debates unfold as leading voices from criminology, public health, law, and economics weigh in, each bringing their own perspective and evidence to the table. Criminologists and public health researchers point to promising data from states that have already implemented universal background checks and mandatory waiting periods. They argue that these measures have led to measurable reductions in gun-related deaths and injuries. For them, PASA represents a critical step forward, a chance to replicate these successes on a national scale and potentially save thousands of lives each year. Many believe that a national licensing system could not only improve public safety, but also foster a culture of responsible gun ownership. By standardizing training and background checks, supporters hope to reduce accidental shootings and keep firearms out of the wrong hands. On the other hand, constitutional law scholars warn that PASA could face fierce legal challenges. They argue that the law may place undue burdens on Second Amendment rights, potentially setting the stage for years of court battles and appeals that could reshape the legal landscape around gun ownership in America. Economists predict that while the gun industry as a whole may adapt to the new regulations, smaller gun dealers could struggle to survive. Some fear that increased compliance costs and paperwork will push out independent shops, reducing competition and possibly driving up prices for consumers. Others suggest that new business opportunities could emerge, especially for those who innovate and adapt quickly. Despite these disagreements, most experts agree on one thing: the true effects of PASA on gun violence, the firearms industry, and American society will take years, if not decades, to fully understand. The law's impact will unfold gradually, shaped by how it is enforced, interpreted by the courts, and accepted by the public. Ultimately, the fate of PASA will depend on a complex interplay of enforcement, judicial decisions, and the willingness of communities to embrace or resist these changes. With its passage, PASA has set the stage for a profound national test, one that will challenge lawmakers, citizens, and institutions alike to find common ground in a deeply polarized debate. One thing is certain: the conversation around gun laws in America is far from over. As the nation watches and waits, the voices from both sides of the divide will continue to shape the future of gun policy for years to come. What's next? The next 6 months will be crucial. Legal challenges are certain, with lawsuits likely heading to the Supreme Court. States must adapt their systems, law enforcement needs new training, and gun dealers must update their practices. Millions of Americans will scramble to understand and comply with the new rules. The political debate will intensify, making PASA a central issue in the upcoming elections. The law's future could hinge on who wins at the ballot box. This is a pivotal moment for the country. We'll continue to follow the story, bringing you updates from the courts, state houses, and communities. Stay informed, read the law, and talk with your fellow citizens. Good night.